Our scripture reading tonight is from the Gospel of Luke, the 2nd chapter, verses 1 through 7. Listen to what the Lord has to say to us on this holy night. In those days, a decree went out from Emperor Augustus that all the world should be registered. This was the first registration and was taken while Aquarius was governor of Syria. All went to their own towns to be registered. Joseph also went from the town of Nazareth in Galilee to Judea, to the city of David called Bethlehem, because he was descended from the house and the family of David. He went to be registered with Mary, to whom he was engaged, and who was expecting a child. While they were there, the time came for her to deliver her child. And she gave birth to her firstborn son, and wrapped him in bands of cloth, and laid him in a manger, because there was no place for them in the inn. This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. Pray with me, would you? Loving God, we come to you tonight full of anticipation of what tomorrow will bring. Calm our hearts and open us now for what it means that Jesus is born into a world that is desperately in need of him. Help us to see where we, too, fit in with this story. And we thank you for your abiding presence always in our life. Amen.
Amen.
Well, by now, everything is prepared, right? Oh, yes. The gifts are all purchased and wrapped. Most likely they're placed under the Christmas tree, just in that right place. The menu is set. Yes, you went through a lot of recipes, but you finally picked the ones you wanted. The food is keeping cooled in the refrigerator right now. Christmas cards have been signed, addressed, and mailed, and hopefully, prayerfully, family members far and near are here with you tonight, or maybe on the way. We are all waiting patiently for tomorrow to come, Christmas Day. Because you hear the excitement in the voices of the children. They already know what gifts they're going to get. They're excited. And so far, I would say that everything has been pretty predictable, hasn't it? From the Christmas displays that have been out in the stores since, I think, early October.
Before then.
For sure, before then. For sure, by November. The emails that have been constantly coming your way telling you about discounts and stores that want you to buy your products from them. It's all predictable. And if you are like me, you rummage through the old bins that are back in the crawl space to dig out those Christmas decorations just like last year, right? Last year. Or probably maybe they're the same decorations for 10 years. Oh no. You put your Christmas tree in the exact same spot. How many of you did that? Raise your hand for me. All right, in the exact same spot. You probably are even having a traditional dinner tomorrow. Raise your hand. Traditional dinner tomorrow. You hear a theme here, don't you? Traditions are so much woven into our Christmas season, and particularly into Christmas Day. It actually can be quite alarming if something is different. If somebody wants to introduce something that you're going to do differently. Oh my. I know this year for the first time, Bob and I are not going to have all three of our kids with us at Christmas. And I'm wondering how I'll feel tomorrow morning when instead of controlled chaos and the hustle and bustle that you all know is there, it's going to be quiet. But I'm thinking perhaps, just perhaps, we're going to start start a new tradition. And hopefully we can embrace that. Tradition, believe it or not, I know I'm going to shock you with this, but tradition is even part of our worship service tonight. There are traditional songs that we just have to sing. There are the familiar scripture verses that are read. It's a tradition, you know, to light candles, and of course we always have to sing
Silent Night.
Silent Night. You know the tradition. And of course we have the Christmas story. The same Christmas story that we hear read every year. Mary and Joseph traveled to Bethlehem, and while there, the time came to deliver her son. Jesus, the Christ child, enters this world to reconcile the world, to make things right, and to bring to the world hope, peace, joy, and love. Yes, that is what we want. And each Advent season, we light these candles to remind us of what Christ brings to us on this day and every day. And tonight, we light that white candle in the center, which is the Christ candle. And we light the Christ candle, for Christ comes into the world to push away the darkness and fill our lives with light. But really, what am I talking about? And really, how does this happen? And what does this all really mean for me? Can't I just get home and get going on dinner and move on to tomorrow? The mysterious ways that God works seems unfathomable, untouchable, unimaginable. How can we begin to understand how this traditional event that we're followed, most of us, all of our lives, can have any relative meaning to us right now? To you and me, how does this have any meaning to us right now in our own lives? And maybe you question what you really believe. I'm certainly, you wouldn't tell me that. But some of you question what you believe, and I wish you would tell me. But maybe you're just afraid to even say those words out loud. I am glad you're here tonight. I am glad you are here with us tonight. And I'm glad you are here with all of your questions. Important questions. So let's take a moment now to look at a very short video that's going to help you know that you are not alone in the questioning or in the not understanding. This sometimes is how we really feel. Let's look.
And say, Earl, I don't believe. I just don't believe. And I asked, my question is, what don't you believe? Because you might not believe some things that I might not believe as well. I have, one buddy of mine, he believes that there's something out there. There's something. He doesn't know what. And I'm okay with that. Can I, with 1,000% assurity, tell an individual this is the way it is? The data that I'm bringing to the table, if you will, is not necessarily 1 + 1 = 2. I have had the beautiful privilege and honor to experience love. And I get it from my wife, I definitely get it from my kids. And when you experience love, when you even see a child come into the world. I remember when my first son was born, When that little guy came out and he looked like he was 85 years old, he had crazy amounts of hair even on his forehead, and he wasn't terribly cute, in all honesty, from the first time that he came out. He has since grown into a beautiful young man. But when I saw him, I mean, explain the connection, explain the love, explain the awe. And what I'm experiencing there in that moment when my son is born and my wife has just been a trooper and carried this little guy for these 9 months, and I've seen her belly grow, and now he comes into this world, and all of that, and we're crying, and there's tears of joy and laughter and so much hope and life in that moment. God is love. It just points me back to Him. And any friends of mine that have experienced love, they've experienced that presence, that joy, that hope. I think it's all just a little sign. It's telling us that there's something more here. There's something more to life. There's something more. And then it's up to all of us to try to figure out, okay, what is the more? Where is the more? Who is the more? And for me, that put me on a path of Scripture, of Jesus being, not just a good teacher, but a man that says he wants my heart, my life surrendered to Him, and is calling me by His love and His grace to follow in His path.
I like so much, he's Pastor Earl is his name, and I like so much how Earl talks about not having the answers. And yet, the beautiful thing is he accepts this place of living with the unknowns of faith, in being content to live with questions. He discovers God breaking into his life in ways that are so difficult to explain, and yet ways that are palpable. You can hear it in his voice, powerful and life-changing ways. He talks about these signs in life that tell him again and again that there is something more there. There is something more there. There is something more going on than he can understand. More going on than we can understand or even explain. On this Christmas Eve, this holy, holy night, I hope for you that you can continue to hold on to the traditions, because they're wonderful. Hold on to the traditions that connect you to the past. Traditions that remind you of the deep significance of this night. And in the traditions that surround Christmas, I urge you then to peer into the manger once again, where that Christ child lay, and wonder what is there yet for you. What is there yet for you to know about His life on earth and His connection to the living God and His connection to you. Live in this space of unknowing and let yourself accept your own doubts and questioning. Let your heart be open to what might just be God breaking into your own life. Be open to what ways you might be surprised, what ways that God might show you something new about yourself and about the life that is present in Him. are all on a journey in our own way of answering the questions of faith. Being prepared for the unknown is the first step. May peace, hope, joy, and love find its way into your life. Enjoy the journey. Enter the unknown. Amen.